just grass.
Oh, it's so much more than just grass. It's a healthier, greener, and more luscious lawn. Yours can be too.
Look at you.
With Kabursky Brothers Lawn Care.
Remember, no shoes on the lawn. Because you're so beautiful.
Call or click today.
Bacon, exciting to chew. Bacon Fest, we're expecting you and love, Iowa bacon love.
Murph and Andy, proudly presented by Ramsey Subaru, live and on demand across Iowa everywhere from the Channel Seed Studios. This is Murph and Andy. Murph and Andy, connected by cellular advantage.
It is Murph and Andy here on a Monday. Welcome in alongside Andy Fales in West Des Moines and Andrew Downs in Urbandale. I'm Keith Murphy on the beaches in Florida, and I am not here to take any more crap about puffy eyes or bloodshot eyes or looking like I stayed up all night. So I'm just going shades the entire show. I cannot take any more getting roasted.
I'm digging those Wayfarers, though. Got the Tom Cruise look there from Risky Business.
Yeah, it's good to be with you. How is everybody?
Back here in Iowa, things are going well. We got a beautiful day today. It's really, really nice here.
Really nice here, too, and glad to have everybody with us. I just got that thing, Andy, you know it well. You get that notice that says, time to check in for your flight. You're just like, oh, man. Yeah, winding down, but always good to look forward to going home and being home. I'm glad to have a happy place to go.
That's a good thing about taking a nice vacation. Makes you ready for home.
Yeah, we needed one of these where we did nothing or very little. Just listened to music, read books, looked at some beautiful scenery, went on a couple of boats. It was really nice. So glad to be with you. Guest House Tavern and Oyster in West Des Moines sets the table for sports and more here on a Murph and Andy Monday. Rory exhales. Nico Iamaleava Forever Hawkeyes, and the Guest House Tavern is Northwest-inspired Midwestern hospitality. AD, you like the name Nico Iamaleava?
I like that, yeah, because it's hard to say anyway, and now it just makes sense. I like that.
This makes it so much easier, but before we get to all of that, high or low since our last show?
Presented by Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Tim Hawkins and company finishing up a couple of days before all their taxes are due, and then he could take a bit of a deep breath up there, and then he could start talking about just the retirement planning of his retirement planning and tax business. I imagine he will welcome that. You can find them at wealthcharterretirement.com. I'm going low today. The Fales household is in that pre-renovation purgatory.
Oh, state of flux.
We're getting a lot of new carpet, which means we are letting the old carpet just go.
Like you're turning in that rental car and you're like, I'm using every drop of gas before we drop this off.
Go ahead. If food falls on the floor, so what? The carpet will suck it up. It's going out the door anyway. But then at the same time, we can't, we've been painting and doing some other stuff in preparation, removing some shelving and stuff. And so everything is like in piles on pieces of furniture around the two main rooms of the main floor. And nothing is organized. You can't find anything. It's just a giant mess. You feel bad every time somebody else comes over. You have to start with an apology and then say hi after that. So, yeah. And it's, the other thing is like, Yeah, no drop cloth required, dude. From Iowa, you're 100% right about
Would you
that.
mind signing this waiver before you come into the house?
That's
Just
a good thing about
understand.
Yeah, the good thing about painting now is it doesn't matter if you get drips all over everything because it's going out the door anyway. But you know, you order carpet and they'll be like, okay, this will be here in 2 months. And you're like, there's like big rolls of carpet over at the carpet store, like huge rolls. Yeah, but this is a special order. I mean, there's so many different choices in carpet that, of course, just so many things are special order. But it takes you like, oh my God, because you mentally move into getting new carpet, but that you can't physically move into the new carpet until months later, and then you order furniture, and that takes a really long time as well. So we're in that purgatory right now, and it's getting our goat.
I'm going high on a Sunday experience, just a reminder of sports are awesome. You know, just so we were in a restaurant on the river. It's a seafood restaurant. It's very popular. It's called Tiki. And we're there and we have reservations. There's more than an hour wait. So we go sit at the bar to watch the Masters, and the bar there could not have been more crowded. Everybody's gathered around, and there's people you don't know, and you start having conversations. You think Rory's going to get it done. What happened to DeChambeau? Is he melting down? So everybody's talking. What state are you from? You're just having that collective experience. And one of the awesome things about sports. And then you get this roller coaster that we'll go over a little more here in just a few minutes, but just the highs and lows. And you think, oh my God, is Rory going to blow this again? And there's, people are sighing out loud. And then when he finally gets it done, there's a collective roar that goes up. We end up eating at the bar and turning down the table that was ready for us because we didn't want to leave the televisions. And it was fantastic. And it's something I'll never forget, being there when he completed the career Grand Slam. So it was awesome. Interact on YouTube. Email Murph_Andy at IoEverywhere.com. On X, it is Murph_Andy, and it is all brought to you by the Cellular Advantage, proudly representing U.S. Cellular since 1993. I'm powered up by the Cellular Advantage right now. 35 regional locations. All right, we already hinted at it, but let's go ahead and get the full buzz.
The Buzz. Brought to you by Logier Heating and Cooling.
Well, McIlroy did get it done. He completes the career Grand Slam, just the sixth man to do it. So, Andy, he joins the legends, the immortals. He's only the second person in the past 50 years to complete the career Grand Slam along with Tiger Woods.
Yeah, and took him quite a few tries
11 times
to get it done. These other guys were like one try, 3 tries, 2 tries, 3 tries. But either way, I mean, it felt like the whole world was rooting for him yesterday. It certainly seemed like the entire course at Augusta and everybody around us at Channel 13 as we were watching, it seemed like
Tiki as well.
They're cheering for Rory. And it's such a reminder, not like you needed this with golf, but I mean, such a reminder of, oh my God, the mental tax that is on these guys' shoulders as they're leading in the final round.
So much pressure.
And yeah, all they have to do is kind of play an average round for them and they win. But just doing that is hard. And just playing an average round is hard. It means that, because they're the best golfers in the world. But then again, I mean, you also have this added, nugget of a Masters championship in front of you. So he's going through that course and you're just like, man, the only one that can beat him is him. And he was beating himself over and over again. And you're just like,
he came really close.
And then he would save himself. And then he would beat himself again.
That was the wild thing. He would hit these amazing shots, and you'd be like, well, there's the shot of the tournament. That's the winning shot. That's the one we'll see forever. And then he misses the putt, and that shot meant nothing. And all of a sudden, he's, it's tied again. And
A 5-foot putt. Now, people who haven't seen what a green setup like that probably think, how do these guys miss from 5 feet? But it's like putting across your dining room table if it had a bunch of slopes in it. It's much more challenging than it looks at times on television. But he had a 5-foot putt to win it. Meantime, Justin Rose, who we'd kind of forgotten, makes that killer putt on 18. He goes over there and starts warming up for a playoff, and you think, well, he's not going to need the playoff after Rory put it right there by the stick on 18, and then we do get a playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. You just thought, okay, well, this guy's in the clubhouse. He's just going to sit there and watch, and it's all on Rory whether or not he wins this. I mean, can you imagine? That just adds even more pressure. I mean, the other guy is done. I mean, it is literally just you versus you, and the whole world watching you, seeing if you will beat yourself or you will not beat yourself. And it's the irony of golf is always striking, right? I mean, 157-yard approach is just pinpoint accurate.
Yeah,
a 5-foot putt is not. Yeah, and you're just like, oh my God. But I mean, he came clutch in the playoff hole, probably made it a little bit more exciting, made it maybe more memorable. I think this was going to be one that nobody was going to forget anyway. If Rory won this one or lost this one, it was going to be unforgettable. But the fact that he wins it in the playoff hole, just to kind of, go back, get the do-over on 18 and show that he could figure that thing out and conquer his own demons. I thought that was great. And I, it was a beautiful, Augusta's beautiful. It's a really nice day in Iowa as we're all watching it. So it just really felt like a great first rite of spring, that we get it every year, but we don't always get it like that.
It was great theater. And I think most people, as you said, were rooting for Rory. I was, and you could see when he did finally win it, the sobbing, the constant facial expressions of a man who the world lifted off his shoulders. Like, you could see the 11 years of pressure, which he's had some meltdowns, and some of them have been featured on Full Swing. And like all of us, he is a flawed person. He's not perfect, but he stood up to live golf in a way that most of us really admired. And he's been a likable guy, not a perfect guy. Neither am I, neither are you. No one's perfect, but he wanted this so badly. And it was all over his face, especially after he completed it. And now it doesn't matter what he does from now on. He's got this. And it was great. And the guy who kind of gets off easy in all this, I think, is Bryson DeChambeau, because he melted down on Sunday, but nobody's really talking about that. But here's this guy that, was kind of, for lack of a better term, a heel for a while in the sport, because he went to live golf. He took the money. He started flying over other holes by changing the way golf is played, by muscling up and all that stuff that he did. Then he gets this YouTube channel, and it seemed like in a short period of time, he became, if not the most popular golfer this side of Tiger Woods, right up there in the top three. And he's under 70 for all 3 rounds, and he came out on Sunday, and he's the one who melted down. But you don't really hear about that because McIlroy is the story.
And that poor Swede, Oberg. Jeez.
Oh, man, my guy, Ludwig. My guy to win it.
That guy could have been in that playoff hole. I mean, he could have. He was right there, and he just completely melted down. I mean, just triple bogey there at the very end of the Masters. Oh my God. But I don't know, a reminder that golf is hard.
Yes. He's 25 years old. That's his second Masters, and he's been right there in the hunt for both of them. By the way, Zach Johnson, who will be eligible for the Champions Tour next year, has his second best Masters finish, 2007 when he won it. This was the best he's played at the Masters. That's pretty cool. Yeah, he did really well.
It was great.
All right, other hot topics here on the Murph and Andy Monday. So Nico Iamaleava, jeez, or is AD
Iamaleava, isn't that it? Iamaleava.
Nico.
Yeah.
Iamaleava.
Nico, I'm a leaving. He man, this has gotten a lot of attention, probably second only to McIlroy winning, because it's just such a mess. He goes through spring practice with Tennessee, and then right before the spring game, word gets out that he wants his NIL deal renegotiated from 2.2 or 3 million to 4 million. And then Josh Heupel in Tennessee say, no, we're done, which I think most of us really appreciated that. And then we learned from Josh Pate, who works with Chris Hassel at CBS Sports, that there were players, including Nico, in the college football playoff who were saying at the time of the playoff, hey, when we made that deal, the deal wasn't for these extra games. We need some more money, or we're thinking about not playing in the playoff, which most of us assumed would be the one time somebody would never opt out if they were in the playoff. And Andy, we have a quickie poll about, who do you most blame for this and that, but it really does all start with the NCAA letting this go so far down the road unchecked that now we're in this mess we can't seem to get out of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they could have foreseen anything like this, because none of us did. But they what they needed to do long ago was laid. But I mean, you had to be able to see the future like no human can, and they never really had that much power. I mean, they had power over their events, but power over the conferences is not something that the NCAA has ever had. I mean, it's not a group of owners. It's public universities.
Universities do not want employees. They still don't want employees, even though they are, for all intents and purposes, employees.
Well, but this shouldn't have surprised anybody that something like this happened. It's going to happen again. There's no doubt. It's totally unchecked, unregulated. It's a free market. It's a wide open free market. I mean, these guys can literally take as much as they can get.
They can now move easier than coaches, and coaches have always been able to pretty much go when they want, but at least they do have that buyout money has to be paid now. There's something holding them there, although in most cases, your next university will just pay it for you.
They've got a contract. It's a one-sided contract, but they can get that one-sided contract because they have that kind of leverage. And they have that kind of leverage because there's always another school that's willing to, or another group of boosters now that's willing to give them more money than the one that they're negotiating with. So that's just the way that works. It's economics. It's something that you're not going to be able to change in this current state of things. I'm sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
I was going to say the only surprising thing about this is that Tennessee actually called his bluff and moved on from him, because things like this have happened a lot. We saw something seemingly similar with Iowa State basketball over the last couple of weeks where, hey, I got these other offers, and hey, and usually the team pays up or the guy just moves on. The surprising thing is that Josh Heupel said enough is enough.
Don't most of us wonder, is this finally the tipping point? Like, is this where it starts to settle down a little bit? Because universities, like I love Tennessee saying enough, no, go somewhere else. But to your point that you made about the coaches and leverage, Andy, there's probably a team out there that wants a quarterback enough to pay what he wants, even though he's been above average. He's never been as good as he was against Iowa in that Citrus Bowl a couple of years ago, but he's been good. But will somebody pay this? Because if somebody pays it, then there's no lesson learned. If everybody's like, no, we have to establish some semblance of
a contract
loyalty.
Is what you're talking about. A contract.
Yeah, you really are. Like an unspoken or an unwritten contract at this point.
Okay, but if the SEC comes up with contracts, then the Big Ten can use that against them. Hey, come to the Big Ten schools. We don't have contracts. If the SEC and the Big Ten get together and say, okay, we're the two most powerful, we're coming up with contracts and a salary cap and all that kind of stuff, well, then the other conferences may not go along with that. And who's bringing all of those conferences together? right? I mean, the NCAA doesn't have that kind of power. It really has to be the commissioners have all got to get together and agree, all right, we have got to do something collectively to get this under wraps. Now, and basically what they're going to have to do is collude with one another, and everybody thinks of that as a dirty word, and you shouldn't be able to do that because you're artificially holding down salaries or holding down cash incentives. I mean, this is a giant mess, and I don't think that this is going to be the tipping point. I think more schools are going to have to go through what Tennessee went through and just have this deep dissatisfaction. And here's the other thing. Tennessee, in order to make this count, they're going to have to resist the urge to do anything like this for anyone else in the future. You know, any sort of renegotiating your pay for play agreement. I guess that's what we call it. It's an agreement. It's not a contract. They're going to have to resist the urge to do that for anybody else. You're going to have to take a stand and stick to the stand. It's easy to take a stand. It's hard to stick to the stand. That's the problem. But I mean, I just, you knew that this was going to happen, and there's going to be things that are probably more ridiculous that come along. Like, you know, why can't a player do this in the middle of the season?
It is really turning people off. I'm seeing it all the time, but so far we haven't reached critical mass because we're not watching less. When we saw that with the Final Four, we saw it with the championship game, at football ratings. So far, we haven't said enough. I'm disgusted with this. A lot of people say they're disgusted, but then their favorite team puts on uniforms. And even though there's not much loyalty that works both ways anymore with many players, you end up cheering for the Hawkeyes or Cyclones or whoever your team is. And your point about NCAA leadership is exactly right. There is a better commissioner now than there was for a long time. Emmert, Baker is better than Emmert was, but he doesn't really have any true power. So you do need the commissioners to come together. But does the SEC commissioner look to you like he's going to sound to you like he's going to worry about anything other than what's best for the SEC? Does a Big Ten commissioner sound like he's worried about what's best for the Big 12? No, they're all thinking about what's best for their conference and leveraging that. And I don't know how we get out of this mess. And I want to get to this quickie poll because I want to take this to Hawkeyes forever right after this because I watched your What's Bugging Andy last night. AD, the quickie poll from WCI Pools and Spas in Ames and Irving.
From what you know of these choices, who do you most fault for the Nico mess? Tennessee, the NCAA, or Nico and his reps?
I of these three, and yes, like most of our polls, there's a little bit of a couple of these. But Nico and his reps, I mean, he had a deal. I think you have to honor the deal, even if it's not written in blood or an actual contract. You can't go before the spring game and renegotiate. And I think in many of these cases, I mean, this kind of thing just came close to happening with Iowa State basketball. It's usually not the player. It's usually somebody who's using the player to try to make some money. And they want even more money. So they're talking to like a 20, 21-year-old guy, and I'm sure what they're saying makes some sense, but I think it's Nico and his reps if I'm picking from these three.
I think it's definitely Nico and his reps. I mean, it's easier to blame the NCAA, the faceless, organizational body, but that's going way back in time. Nico Iamaleava is making a lot of money to play college football. That's a lot of money. And
not to mention the full cost of scholarship and attendance.
And those are people that are giving that to you. That's not the University of Tennessee that's giving that to you. That's individual donors who you've probably met face-to-face and are giving you that money to play at Tennessee. With free room and board and a free education, you got it really, really good. You've got it better now than you're going to have it later on in the NFL, because I don't think a lot of people see this guy as a guy that's going to make a lot of money in the NFL. I mean, he has got it good. And at some point, when you are that age, you should be expected to have enough adult brain cells to say, you know what? I need to stand by my end of the bargain here. Even if the bargain isn't written up by a lawyer and signed by both parties, this is something that I agreed to do for the people who are paying me.
I agree with all that. I still blame the NCAA more because they're allowing this to happen. They could put guardrails in. They could come in and be an actual governing body.
How could they do that right now? How could the NCAA do that right now?
I don't know, but who else is there to do it?
What would they do? Kick Tennessee out? What would they shut down the SEC? Would they say you do it this way, or
they
you
need
can't
to have
play
some
NCAA
level
football?
of? I mean, there needs to be something, and if there are no guardrails, it's hard to blame the people that are pushing those boundaries and playing within the set of rules. I get what you're saying about Nico, but if he thinks he's worth $4 million, he's probably going to get that money somewhere. And that's, like you said, is Tennessee going to make this stand every time somebody puts a gun to their head? Is Nico going to go and make the money he should have? He feels he should have made at Tennessee. And if he does that make this whole thing a wash? The NCAA screwed this thing up for decades and has just let it get out of hand. They're both at fault. The NCAA is at fault.
Tennessee would be passing the buck if they would blame the NCAA. Tennessee's in full control over what it can and can't do with its money, or what it can and can't do with its donors. Tennessee,
because he's unemployed.
Tennessee can't just say, well, the NCAA screwed this up, so it's not our fault. No. They're in full control over what's going on with their football team, and they have a lot of control over their donor network. And their donors have more control. They have control over their own pocketbooks. It's not the NCAA's fault.
The university needs to make that. The universities, the presidents, and the athletic directors need to stop pretending that these football players are not employees, and get some kind of contracts that work both ways to everyone's benefit. But they're not going to do that.
But
they're not going to do that.
They have to be the ones to come to the bargaining table and say, okay, we need to figure this out now. And we need to give power, be willing to give power to a governmental body. Maybe it's the NCAA, maybe it's one that we come up with on our own, but we have to make that up. We have to create that, and we have to follow that and agree that we will follow that.
That will take a leader who can step up and convince others to act for the greater good instead of your own individual greed, which is what's happening now. The SEC and the Big Ten both have more power than the NCAA now because they're worth so much more money, and they hold the power, especially in football, which is where most of the money is made. So it would take like a commissioner to say, look, we need to do what's best for this sport, or we're going to go off the cliff here at some point.
I mean, like, whose job would you rather have? Would you rather be the SEC commissioner or the executive director of the NCAA?
SEC commissioner.
Not even close.
He's got the power. He's got the power, and he's basically got a plan. It's simple. Do what's best for the SEC. That's it. That's all you got to do. The NCAA, what the hell are they going to do? Bring everybody to the bargaining table, even though there are certain conferences that have no incentive to go to the bargaining table because things are just fine for them right now. They're all getting rich.
The good thing about this is that this was an SEC team that this happened to, but it needs to happen to Alabama and Texas and Florida and LSU and their respective presidents, ADs need to be like, okay, this is going too far. We have got to figure something out. But then they have to also say, by figuring something out, we have to recognize that we cannot be the ones in charge of this here. We have to put something else in charge, try to come up with a neutral governing body that we will give the power to, and then we will follow along with that. And then we have to invite the other, encourage these other somewhat smaller conferences to come into the bargaining table, and then everybody has to get together. But I mean, it's just like,
that's the thing, getting everybody on the same page and agreeing to this kind of thing, because if Tennessee's not as good this year and they lose 5 games, Josh Heupel's job is on the line. It doesn't matter whether, the fan base is going to be pissed that they didn't pay the quarterback what they needed to pay the quarterback to go win a national championship. And if he goes somewhere else and is good, watch out.
And they were just in the playoff.
Yeah.
They were just in the playoff. Wait, we got to move forward here. Andy, I saw the email on Hawkeyes Forever in my inbox a couple of days ago, and I was glad to see on WHO 13 Sound Off last night, you did your What's Bugging Andy commentary on this. I know what they're doing here, but my goodness, it's just one more thing that if you could go back in time and show somebody what this email looked like, they'd be like, what? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and you can see right through it. So, I mean, what the Lifetime Giving Society is a group of the biggest mega donors at the University of Iowa. They have to have given at least $5 million, not pledged,
$5 million,
not promised, not planned to give. Their checks have to have already cleared. They've given at least $5 million to Hawkeye Athletics. And then you can be in that club. And then you'll get special perks in that club. Don't worry. You'll get special perks. We'll take care of you. And they should take care of them.
Yes.
Because these donors have been the ones footing the entire bill for all of the good things coming into the University of Iowa. I mean,
and they shouldn't be, but they have been. And
they're not the only ones. There are many people that just kind of gave far less than that. But these are the big ones. These are the ones who've donated buildings and are probably footing the lion's share of the tab for the collective. But I just think it's kind of funny the way the flowery language that always goes into these press releases where, Kevin Collins is quoting himself basically, because he's the one that's writing this thing. He's quoting himself about, how this is a special group of donors who have a special passion and devotion, loyalty to the University of Iowa, and the student athletes, also the student athletes who also have that loyalty, which is complete bullshit, because the student athletes, as we're showing, don't need to have any loyalty anymore. They can pick up and move on as soon as they get their check cleared, basically. But basically what this is, and I'm not picking on Iowa, because every other big university is going to come up with something like this if they haven't already. This is basically just a focus group of your biggest donors that you bring together in certain settings. They can all talk amongst themselves about how much they've given and how much they're still going to give. That's great. But what mainly the focus is that you can get all these together in one room, and then Kevin Collins and his staff can walk around and make sure to pull each one of them aside. Just can I have 5 minutes of your time to just tell you about some exciting new opportunities that we've got coming up here? And I think you might want to be a part of them. And what's coming then. They're just going to ask them for more and more and more money. They call it the Forever Hawkeyes. Well, what that means is like those people will forever be getting texts and emails from the University of Iowa asking for more money.
And they're necessary and they're needed and they're certainly appreciated by all the universities that have these forever blank, whatever nickname you have or some version of that. But I just can't, as much as I love sports, I just cannot imagine being in a world where I'm giving millions of dollars to a sports program, especially now that you are renting players a season at a time. I mean, that's what you're doing. They're not forever Hawkeyes. They're not forever Cyclones. Most of the players are coming and going wherever the best offer is. Or if they didn't feel like they got to start and they want to start, they leave. And you understand it. I could see myself being that person. But gosh, how did we get here?
Here's the other thing that you can guarantee, like that $5 million may get you into the Forever Hawkeyes Giving Society.
It's a t-shirt too, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, but down the road, they will create an upper class of the Forever Hawkeyes Giving Society that, well, if you want to be in that class, you need to have given $7 million or $10 million. And that'll get you into the extra special Forever or the Infinity Forever Hawkeye Giving Society. They will not settle at this. I mean, there will always be something new that needs to roll out. And this is hard for universities because, they are like, it's like they are competing against their fans now, right? In certain ways, their fans, they're competing against their own collectives. Really, this is another just screwed up thing about this.
I know, and the fans know this makes no sense, but they also still want to win.
Well,
so
they want to, they
get
want to
it.
win, and they there's no other way to do it right now. There's no other plan set up. But the universities have been hitting up these big donors for decades, and these donors have been given buildings and weight rooms and upgrades to the stadiums and buying out coaches, paying them not to coach, that kind of stuff. They've been paying for that kind of stuff. That need isn't going away now that you can pay these players and buy the players. It just means that you are competing, your university is competing against your collective to try to get money out of these big donors for two different things. One, to pay the players, the other one, trying to keep the facilities upgraded and keep the money coming into the athletic programs.
For $10 million, you can have a beer in heaven with Niall Kinnock.
Yeah, it's going to be
now, we can't put that in a contract, but we have a good feeling about it. Andy, Size House of Trivia. I was here. You and Scott Sipker hosted. It's a great night. It's a fun night. Cyclone fans love it. How did it go?
I think it was the best one that we've been a part of. It was completely full. The crowd was cool. Nobody was building no more pyramids out of the empty beer cups or anything.
That new scoreboard rocks.
Oh my God, the scoreboard. Yeah, I saw it during the basketball season, but didn't realize just how much bigger it was than the old one. They had it lowered, way down toward the floor for this game. And it's such high definition that it really made the whole game better. All right, here's a couple of, let's hit you with a few questions from Size House of Trivia, guys. Okay. Cyclone spelling. Okay. You would the cyclone, we'd show the picture of the cyclone, but then you had to spell that cyclone's name.
Oh, okay.
So the first one was Stacy Freeze. Murph, you know how to spell Stacy Freeze?
Last name only or both?
Both.
Okay.
First and last.
Stacey.
Nope.
All right. Stacy.
Yep.
Friese.
Nope. Wrong.
No, Frese.
Yep. Got the last one right. Not the first one. Had to get them both. That was tough. Cale Sanderson, Murph. Spell Cale Sanderson.
CaelSanderson.
Yep, you got it. Now, so did the entire crowd at Size House of Trivia because
I get it. It's not a great answer.
Well, he's got a banner like right above everybody's head inside
Right.
the Coliseum with his gold medal on.
People are just like, C-A.
All right, how about this? Farm animals. This was kind of funny. Iowa State having some fun with its own programs and some of these. Andrew, true or false? Horses cannot vomit.
That's true.
It is true. Murph,
Really?
a normal cow's stomach has how many compartments?
4.
You're right. Very nice. Some of these go with a picture. Andrew, true or false? Sheep and goats both have rectangular pupils, allowing them a field of vision from 320 to 340 degrees.
True.
It is true.
Andrew's pupils allow him to see 420.
Murph, what is a female donkey called?
An ass.
No, the female. That's kind of a general term.
I guess I just want to say ass. So what?
Andrew, do you know what a female donkey is called?
I really don't know.
Oh, how about
Murphy should know this one.
yeah, I should know this one.
Why should Murph know?
Female donkey.
A Murph.
Female donkey.
A female donkey is called a Jenny.
Damn. I hope she's not watching.
Todd's got it right there. That's really funny. That was just a few of the questions. They went on and on. It was a really good game. Did like to finish the lyrics, which was a huge hit last year. So they brought
Such
it
a
back
fun
this year.
night.
Yeah, it really was very, very well done. coaches were there. Jamie Pollard was there. And, it ran really, really smoothly. You and I said this the first year that we did this, which was 18 years ago, if you can believe that.
Ooh.
Yeah, that ages you. We thought immediately, we're like, oh, Iowa's going to start doing this next year. They never have. I thought Drake was going to be doing it by now. This is a great idea. It's a lot of work. I mean, it's a really well done night, but it's completely sold out. Those tables are like $1,000, $1,500 per table, 10 people. They make a bunch of money, but Cyclone fans love it. I mean, there's a waiting list to get a table there every year.
It's a lot of fun, and Uber has a good night as well, so it works out for everyone. Now here's Sebastian Maniscalco on Passover.
Went to my first Passover dinner. That's what she said. My mother's going to have Passover. Okay, we'll go to the dinner. 7:30, we sit down at her mother's house. I'm starving, right? Starving. They start passing out pamphlets, like reading material. I'm like, what's going on? What are we doing here? What's with the... She's like, no, we read for 2 hours. 2 hours? I said, listen, I'm Italian. As soon as I sit at a table, I got to have bread within 15 seconds of sitting down, all right? I need something to do with my right hand. I need some oil coming out. We got oil? I need oil now. Hungry. And the food they start bringing out, oh God, terrible food. Jews have no idea what the hell they're doing in the kitchen. These people have no cuisine. Celery, crackers, jam. I'm like, what is it? We're losing people. People are leaving. We need food. After breakfast, they fall apart, the Jews. After a bagel, cream cheese, lox, where are they going? They got nothing. They have nothing. Has anybody ever said to you, we went to this Jewish restaurant last night? The gefilte, amazing. I respect the Jews, but let's just have the Italians cater the Passover meal, all right? Come on.
Oh, the delivery is just fantastic. Confluence is the official beer of Murph and Andy. Confluence, where good things come together. Won't be able to have a confluence after this show, but I will enjoy a beer. In the meantime, let's get some more.
But wait, there's more. From Either Or Eatery and Patio.
Patio is located at 6222 Grand Avenue, home of the fantastic Patio. You have got one day to get your taxes finished up. April 15th coming up. Just finished mine last Friday. God, that's a good feeling. Ugh. What's going on with the music here? There we go.
There we go.
It's Monday.
Settle on a track there. Yeah. Chinese authorities issued a surprising but serious safety warning on Friday for the weekend. If you weigh under 110 pounds, you should probably stay indoors.
Really?
We got some wind here today. We've got like 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, but in China, there was a cold vortex traveling in from Mongolia that was bringing wind up to 93 miles per hour. Apparently so strong they could blow away some of the lighter people walking out on the streets there, which is a problem.
Sorry.
Bless you, Murph.
Thank you.
What are you doing?
Getting over a cold?
Swallowing your tongue. 113 years ago tonight, passengers aboard the SS Titanic heard a great big thud. And then the Titanic went down. This came out on Friday. If you've got Disney Plus or the National Geographic Channel, I started watching this just as I was folding laundry. It is absolutely fascinating. So these researchers took these gigantic cameras on submersibles down to the wreckage of the Titanic. And they spent a year driving these submersibles all around the exterior, getting as close to the ship as possible, all around, taking all of these incredible high-resolution images, videos of the wreckage. They lit it up really well. And then they spent like another year processing all of those images, and then created this gigantic, like football stadium sized curved screen.
Wow.
On a Hollywood soundstage.
I will definitely watch this. I'm fascinated by the Titanic.
Projected the video and the pictures up onto these screens and brought it all together. So it literally looks like you are standing at the bottom of the ocean, looking at the Titanic with the entire wreckage perfectly lit.
Wow.
The detail is incredible. It blows you away. And then as they're going through it, they've got, these experts who've been to the dive site a whole bunch of times or the wreckage site a whole bunch of times. They're kind of explaining what it normally looks like and all the detail that you're actually seeing. And, this is this is that. And they're just kind of talking about, usually for all the years since it was located in 1985. Ever since then, going down to the wreckage of the Titanic has basically been like, it's complete pitch black down there.
Right.
And it's just like taking a flashlight, and what can you see of a giant wrecked ship with a flashlight that you're holding in your hand? I mean, you can see, one little piece of it pretty well, but you can't see anything else while you're looking at that one piece. For the first time, you can see the entire thing. It's
that's
incredible.
so cool.
It is so cool.
Have you heard Bill Hader tell the story of how he got fired working at a movie theater? So Bill Hader worked at a movie theater like I did for 3 years, and they rented out a sorority, rented out an entire theater to watch Titanic. You remember how popular the movie was. And Bill Hader's tearing tickets, and some of the sorority girls coming into the theater were picking on him and kind of giggling because they said he looked like Charles Manson. And he admitted, I did kind of have a little bit of resemblance to Charles Manson, but he turns to the group and says, at the end, Leo's not frozen, he's dead. He dies at the end of the movie. And they complained, and he got fired for spoiling the ending of the movie.
Jeez.
Yeah. I kind of assumed he would be dead at the end of the movie. That doesn't seem like a fireable offense to me, but yeah.
He did ruin the movie for a giant group of people. I mean, that's not ruin the movie. I mean, that.
Yeah. You have a good idea that some people are going to die.
160 years ago today, the Lincolns had a date night. Decided to take in Tom Taylor's Our American Cousin, playing at the still new Ford's Theater in Washington. Here's a look at Ford's Theater in 1865. Located on 10th Street. The date did not go well. John Wilkes Booth used a single-shot Derringer pistol to shoot President Lincoln in the head, and then jumped off the balcony and escaped out the back door. Bleeding from the head, Lincoln was carried across the street to the Peterson House, where he later died. Both buildings now historic landmarks. They really couldn't do much with either one of those places after that night, right? I mean, that was about it. Their destiny was sealed.
Yeah, you don't really want to go to a play, and you probably don't want to stay in the bed where Lincoln bled out.
No, the bed was actually purchased by some collector in Chicago, and it's actually located in Chicago at a great big museum there, but they've got a replica of that bed there. But two big tourist attractions. And at another time, Ford Theater was really in disrepair. I think in the early 20s, it was in disrepair. They had the floors collapse. 22 people were killed in the floor collapse, 68 injured. Thought the building was just cursed for a long time. They are but now historic landmarks on the National Register of Historic Places. Today's stupid criminals are from Louisiana. They earned themselves a catchy headline in the local news. It reads, 4 arrested after riding horses through Walmart. Of course, there's a video. There's a video. The guys here they are. Yeah, they just come in their horses, on their horses, and just start riding. And the crazy thing is, you kind of look around here. The people at Walmart, they just go about their business.
This is not the craziest thing I've seen.
They've probably seen something worse at the Walmart. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's horses this time. I knew it
Oh,
would be
horses.
something.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a refreshing change.
We'll close with the word of the week. It's called Destinesia. Is the
Destiny.
word Destinesia, like amnesia with a destiny on the beginning? That's when you get to where you were intending to go, usually in a house,
Mm-hmm.
and then you forget why you were going there in the first place.
Oh, that happens to me.
Like,
Sure.
why am I in the basement? I do
What?
that all the time.
Why am
What-
I in my room?
What was I getting in here? And
Yeah,
then you
no idea.
leave and you go all the way back to where you started. You're like,
Ding.
of course. And then you go back to that room again to do that. That's Destinesia.
Destinesia.
It's a word you didn't know before today. You got
All
it.
right.
That's your more, everybody.
All right. More in the rear view, and time now for throwdowns.
Throwdowns. It's Throwdowns. Backed by Heartland Tire and Auto.
Heartland Tire and Auto, treating you like family in Ankeny, Waukee, Knoxville, Boone, and Creston, an authorized dealer of both Bridgestone and Firestone tires. Andy, Jim Nance has what most consider a dream job at the Masters. If you could work as a broadcaster at any sporting event, what do you choose?
Ooh. We didn't even point him out yet. He was absolutely perfect yesterday.
He was great. Yeah.
Just incredible.
Economy of words.
The way they let that breathe at the end. I think they said they went 7 minutes and only said a handful of words on the broadcast.
Didn't ever step on anything, but told you
No.
everything you needed to
Mhm.
know, added to the whole appeal of the broadcast. It was great.
And then Aiden Wyatt pointed out to me that, and you got to keep in mind too, that Nance only has like 11 more of these.
Yeah.
Announced his retirement.
When's he retiring? Like 2034?
2036.
2036. Jeez. Yeah, I guess I can do some math. I think it would be something like, I think it might be like the Kentucky Derby. Because there's so much to talk about. I mean, I don't know enough about horse racing to do that. I'm not suggesting that, but there's so much there's like an educational portion to that where you're given the backgrounds on all the horses and the trainers and the owners and all that. There's so much more time leading up to the actual race than there is of the actual race. But then in the race, you get to like ramp up your personality to the nines, and then get all excited in calling the race. I feel like you get like the two extremes there.
There's so much pressure, though. You made me familiar with the guy that would have panic attacks calling the Derby because if you get anything wrong, it lives forever. And even in these past Olympics, the announcer for NBC called the wrong winner of the men's 100 meters. He was really close, but he called the wrong winner. It's like, oh, you can't do that over, and you only have 9 seconds to get it right in 100 meters. It'd be the Super Bowl for me. It's just the sport I love the most and the big event, and maybe wouldn't have that kind of pressure.
All right, Murph, it was all love for Rory yesterday, but I couldn't help but feel bad for Justin Rose. Would you rather lose the Masters in a playoff twice, like Justin Rose now has, or just never finish in the top 3 in your whole career?
Oh, I would rather lose in the playoff twice. I mean, I was right there at the end of 4 rounds of golf. I was the co-leader, couldn't get it done, but I'd take that over not finishing in the top 3. I mean, yes, it's disappointing, but wow, he's been in 2 Masters playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. This one's closer for me.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean,
I don't think I could live with this.
yeah, Zach Johnson is feeling great about his finish. But I mean, he's won though. It's different. I mean,
but it's like they talk about Olympics. The bronze medalists are almost always happier than the silver medalists because bronze, you got a medal and you weren't that, but silver, you're always like, man, I was so close to gold.
I mean, it depends on kind of what the situation was. If the gold medalist is 10 seconds ahead of you or something like that, then you're happy to get that silver. But if he beats you by a hair, then you're devastated.
Ooh.
I'm going to go the other way on this one. I think you could feel better about just finishing in the top 10 with a really good finish than being that close twice where you could taste it.
Yeah.
And then just having it taken away, and then he falls into just the footnotes of history.
And then it's like even major footnotes because he lost to Sergio and now Rory. So it's like it's almost like it didn't even matter because those are two kind of iconic wins over the last decade. All right, Andy. Friday we talked about Masters amateur Jose Luis Ballester peeing in Rays Creek. What's the craziest place you've ever peed?
On the floor of my own car, for sure. Yeah. But I had those weather guard mats,
That's right.
I was absolutely dying. My kidneys were about to burst. I just at a stoplight, I had to pee onto the floor of my own truck. But those weather guards, man, those things are the best, man. Those things are just great. They caught it all. Those things can like hold like a gallon of liquid. They held it all. So I just picked it up, poured it out the door once I got to my destination. But yeah, peed in my own car on purpose.
Wow.
Murph.
During throwdowns. I had to go. No, it was during a football game, press box, did not get a break at halftime, drank far too much. Far too many liquids, and just I had to go. So I had to tell everybody, make sure nobody else could walk in, and I had to go in a cup, and I filled that entire cup.
That's throwdowns.
It's like a big gulp cup or something. How do you have a cup that big that you feel safe peeing into it? You can't cut it off.
I couldn't cut it off, and I did start to worry that there was going to be spillage. It was, it was a big cup. It wasn't like a Jeff Grummer bedwetter size cup. Grummer was always famous for his 88-ounce cups. They'd go fill up at whatever convenience store there was, but it was a big cup. It was an insulated
saw
cup.
Grummer on Saturday night up at Hilton Coliseum.
Never a bad time to see Grummer.
Never.
Grimaldi's fan photos. Send your fan photos to Murph_Andy at IowaEverywhere.com. It's presented by Grimaldi's Coal Brick Oven Pizzeria in West Des Moines and District at Prairie Trail in Ankeny. AD, who do we have today?
Yeah, I asked for baseball pictures and the people came through. So here's just a handful of the ones we've gotten, but keep the pictures coming and we'll pick a winner on Friday.
$50 gift card to the winner coming up Friday. Thanks to our friends at Grimaldi's. Time for the Andrew Downs audio drop of the day. We do call it the AD Squared.
That's powered by Game Day Men's Health. I wouldn't be able to do all these segments in a row like this if I wasn't on the extra testosterone boost that I get at Game Day Men's Health. I go to Ankeny. You can go to West Des Moines or North Liberty if you're on the eastern side of the state. The NBA playoffs begin this week, guys. Yesterday was the final day of the regular season. Play-in games this week. The playoffs actually begin next weekend. But that means we'll get a lot of Kevin Harlan. And to remind you what a treat he is,
so good.
Here he is reading an ad during a game on TNT last week.
Madison Square Garden, the NBA on TNT. Is brought to you by the new crispy tenders at CarMax. What? The way car buying should be. Can that be? What is that? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm holding. Hold on. Are they serving tenders with cars? Are there tenders in the car? We just had the marriage of two different sponsors and it was ugly. That just goes to show you, I literally will read anything they put in front of me without even looking like, holy cow.
I'm Ron Burgundy. That's great, God. He's so
Kevin Harlan's
likable.
Awesome.
Oh my God, he's so good. Makes any game better. Quickie poll results are presented by our friends at WCI Plaza Names in Urbandale.
From what you know of these choices, who do you most fault for the Nico Iamaleava mess?
Nice job.
Nico and his reps say 68%, 31% say the NCAA, 1% say they belong to Tennessee for this.
Tennessee probably had its favorable rating go up, but AD does make a good point. Now Tennessee's got to find a quarterback and win because they're not
good.
Yeah, they're not down for any of the losing there. All right.
Well, that is all it'll take to make people second guess what happened. I mean, if they immediately move on to somebody else, this will be the greatest move ever made by the University of Tennessee. If it's a total flop and they suck, and this just makes it a bigger mess.
And they could get that money. We know they could get that money.
That's the thing. It's
come
paltry, what, $1.5 million?
But
the difference between being good and bad.
But as they found out at Iowa State, Iowa, any other place this has happened, when you have to renegotiate to keep somebody from leaving, the other players then are like, well, what about us? We haven't complained. We've just been loyal to the school and the team. And do we have to threaten to leave to get more money? How did it come to this?
There don't always need to be legal guardrails up to have a good deal. I mean, you can have a handshake deal where both parties just honor their word, right?
Yes.
You can do that.
You can.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, we call it Iowa everywhere. Thank you for being part of Murph and Andy, supporting local media here on Iowa Everywhere. If you missed Overthinking, it was on before us. You can find that wherever you find your Iowa Everywhere podcast. Two guys, Chris and Chris. Also, you can find that Bigger Than 12, all the shows. Please like and subscribe. Invite your friends to our party. Thank you for hanging out with us today on a Monday. We're back Wednesday, and we hope you are too.